following program is sponsored by PokerStars.com. Last night on the Big Game.
Should I Hollywood more before I bluff?
Tinseltown director Nick Cassavetes got the Hollywood treatment from Prahlad Friedman.
I call.
Just enough.
Thanks for inviting me to the game, fellas. I really have a good time.
Barry Greenstein ran a double barrel bluff into the top set of Vanessa Selbst.
I'm on.
And it took 24 hands before the loose cannon Jared Huggins notched his first win. Tonight, find out if Jared can build momentum.
Get him, Jared. Punish the pros.
Or if the pros continue running the table on the Big Game.
I have front row seats to this show for free.
This is PokerStars.com Big Game.
Welcome to the Big Game from Las Vegas, Nevada. With Joe Stapleton, I'm Scott Huff, and tonight some of poker's best continue to duke it out in our state-of-the-art poker room. The stakes and stacks are huge, with life-changing money on the table.
This guy's made so many speeches, we had to fire up the orchestra to get him off stage, and the up almost 50K award goes to Prahlad Friedman.
Vanessa Selbst can almost pay back those student loans for Yale Law after last night's session. She's up over $70,000.
Poker legend Barry Greenstein bluffed off over half his stack to Vanessa. He's losing almost 60,000 LOL cashments.
Hollywood director Nick Cassavetes signed a pay-or-play deal with Prahlad Friedman yesterday. He's stuck over $61,000.
This week's loose cannon is 29-year-old Jared Huggins. The Manhattan Beach native recently overcame being homeless with the help of the poker community. Now Jared says he wants to pay it forward by donating a portion of any winnings to charity, but he's got to win first. He's down over 18 dimes.
And rounding out the table is the magician Antonio Esfandiari. He took down nearly 20 grand last night, and right now he's with Amanda Leatherman.
Antonio, tough table, huh?
It's a tough table, but I like where I'm sitting. I wish that Prahlad and I were switched, but I do like my seat. I like having position on Vanessa. She plays really aggressive, and Barry as well.
What about the loose cannon? What do you think of his play so far?
So far, I think he's playing really tight and passive. He hasn't put in a single raise.
Really?
And you can't win at poker if you don't do that. So, you know, during the entire first round of play, first day of play, to not raise one time is not a winning formula.
You're going to be gunning for him.
Well, you know, he's 4 seats to my right, so I'm not really gunning for him until later when he starts loosening up because he's running out of time.
Right.
But, you know, I've got 3 people to get through, so.
All right, Antonio, good luck.
Thank you, Amanda.
Here's a look at the loose cannon rules. Each cannon is staked $100,000 to play. He keeps all profit above the initial $100K. And the loose cannon, who's won the most money at season's end, earns a North American Poker Tour passport worth $50,000.
And while I'm sure making a profit is first on his agenda, Jared will have to earn more than our first loose cannon, Gonzalez Cannon, to win that NAPT passport. Gonzalez Cannon, natural-born cannon. Jared Huggins, so far, a natural-born hugger.
The action will begin here with hand 33 of 150. Vanessa Selbst, 10 tray. Let's it go. 6-4 for Antonio. Folding.
You know, he's like a rock star director.
Prahlad Friedman, Jack-8 offsuit. Folds.
Fold one.
Our loose cannon, Jared Huggins with Queen Deuce.
It's unopened and he's on the button. Now I know what the pros would do. He's thinking about it.
Channels his inner pro and raises to 1,200.
He must have heard Antonio's interview.
Jack-6 suited for Cassavetes. Folds.
Jared, I want to raise you, but people get mad at me if I keep raising you.
I know Barry Greenstein, and trust me, he doesn't care what people think about him.
It's his way of saying nice hand.
Well, at least if he walks out of here with nothing else, you got a Barry Greenstein compliment. Though far less rare, I'd rather have the money.
So the loose cannon wins only his second pot of the week as we look at the rules of the Big Game. Each table lasts exactly 150 hands. The action pre-flop is pot limit, then no limit after the flop. Blinds are 2 and 4 with a $100 ante, all of which is paid by the player on the button. And every player begins with at least $100,000 but can rebuy for up to $500,000.
And one change from last season, a winning loose cannon no longer has the option to come back for a bigger profit. We brought about that rule right quick the second we got a submission from Ken Jennings.
Our loose cannon not exactly in jeopardy, but still has some work to do.
Hey, have you guys gone to that PokerStars.net site?
In addition to being a writer and a director, Nick also hosts a Hollywood home game that sometimes plays bigger than this.
You know he wrote Blow?
I do.
It's the greatest movie.
It's in my rap.
It's the greatest movie.
It's in my rap.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In case you missed it, last night we premiered Prahlad's newest rap. Pretty sure I saw it on TRL this morning.
Huggins calls with Jack-8 offsuit.
Jared's limping in late position with Jack-8 off. Woof.
Yeah. You just wrote one of the greatest movies of all time. Just wrote it.
The Notebook. I said, you ever heard of those like that?
Cassavetes folds his tray deuce. Barry calls.
Slow and Notebook were my... Notebook is the greatest. I was really starstruck when I first met Nick.
It's almost every woman's, like, one of their favorite movies. Notebook is...
It's the greatest love story ever told.
Yeah.
Actually, Nick says The Notebook is his worst movie. Besides, the greatest love story ever told is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
5 queen 7 on the flop, and Barry bets out his middle pair.
This is our first unraised pot. Vanessa's reverse dominated.
And calls. Now it's up to the cannon. Jared Huggins folds.
Vanessa's not big on folding, but in her defense, ace high could be the best hand.
Turn. 7 of diamonds. Barry has trips.
And boom goes the dynamite.
He checks it.
That's a trap. Now, by not betting, Barry might be missing out on some value by not building a pot, but it looks like Vanessa may be falling for it.
Bets 3,000.
Occasionally, Barry will shut down after you call a bet on the flop. I think that's what she's hoping for here. Yep, check that 7, Barry.
Still trips. Makes the call.
Gotta wonder if Vanessa's gonna try to take him off his hand on the river.
King of diamonds on the end. Greenstein checks.
Will she bet it again?
Nope, checks it down.
Good check behind by Vanessa. Once Barry calls the turn, it's not really the spot for a bluff, and she's certainly never being called by worse.
So Barry can't induce another bet on the river, but his trip 7s help him take down a pot worth $9,000. And so far, it looks like he's brought a different approach in his return to the big game, Joe.
If we look at Barry's stats from his previous starts on the big game compared to the first 34 hands we played this week, we see that he's raising a higher percentage of hands pre-flop, calling fewer pre-flop raises, and when it comes to c-bets, it's more Barry being Barry. It appears the early hit has forced him to stray from his usual winning strategy. When ammo runs low, you have to fire less and make your shots count more. Sorry, I just pictured Barry firing an actual gun.
Action will start on Prahlad Friedman. Queen 9.
Hello, sir. How are you doing? What's your name, man?
Fine, Marcus.
Nice to meet you, Marcus.
Thank you. Give me some really good cards.
Huggins folds. Cassavetes down.
Wow, that's the first in history.
Over to Vanessa with 5 deuces spades.
Only because
Wow.
there was that stupid questionnaire and it said, what hand do you never play?
I just want this to go on national television that
and this
Barry
was the one
folded the
hand
button
that I said that I never play.
and Vanessa folded the small blind.
Wow.
The first time I was ever on
That's
TV,
unheard of,
I
Jared.
4-bet bluffed all in on a World Series table. I raised and someone squeezed really big and I shoved it with 5 deuces spades. And I had aces.
How'd that feel?
It looked pretty bad. He made quad aces too.
No, I was the only one who complimented you. I was doing the voiceover, and I said, I bet this girl has a future if she has that play in her. Everyone was like saying how stupid it was, and I said, yeah, but it's scary if a woman has that play in her. Because a lot of people are not going to be able to fade
Next
that.
time, make sure they don't have aces.
I seriously don't believe this. You guys heard it here. Barry Greenstein claiming to have discovered Vanessa Selbst. Next, he's going to tell us he's the guy that came up with the idea for the notebook.
I heard he reinvented the wheel, actually. 4-3 of spades for Cassavetes. Raises to 1,100. Queen 10 suited for Greenstein. Calls. 7 tray for Selbst. Lets it go.
I want to be the thinker.
On the Magician. 10 tray of clubs. Folds.
Well, let's bet on what Vanessa thinks. We both, I don't know.
King 7 for
I
Prahlad.
don't know how well you know her. You guys go to lunch and brunch and stuff? No?
He folds.
Okay, that's fine. We played
Action on the cannon. With ace 9, he'll call.
He does have the best hand.
3-way action to the flop. Deuce 4-7, couple of diamonds. Barry's flopped a flush draw.
Check.
Huggins checks
Nick's got the best hand with a pair of 4s.
and checks it.
Y'all think Nick just gave up the lead there, but he didn't. Not c-betting is his way of sticking it to Barry.
And Barry fires 2,300 with his flush draw.
Nobody else is going to bet it, then Barry will, which is exactly why he's likely to get some action.
Huggins folds.
Whether Nick meant to do it or not, he's managed to control the pot and not get raised by Barry's draw.
And there's the action you were talking about, Joe. Cassavetes makes the call. We're going to see a turn. Deuce of hearts.
No one improves, but the board got slightly worse for a flush draw.
And Cassavetes wraps. As does Barry.
Maybe Barry's giving it up.
9 of diamonds on the river.
Nope.
Barry's made his flush. Action back on Nick Cassavetes, who fires 4,000.
Now Nick's leading at it. Kind of like Alpha Dog, this bet doesn't really know what it wants to be. Maybe it's meant to be a blocker bet, so Barry can't bluff him off his hand with a pot-sized polarizer. And while it's possible Barry's flush is beat, I think it's very likely we're about to see a raise.
And there it is, 14,000.
Blocker bet fail.
How much more do you have, sir? You got 20 more, right?
27, 26.5.
Oh, Barry.
Nick doesn't want to get bluffed, and that's probably just what Barry wants him to think.
All right, that's full.
Lays it down. Barry's going to take a pot worth over 26K.
Cassavetes going for the old fake yawn that didn't hurt routine. Oh, but it did hurt. There's 3 orange 25K chips now in play.
So Barry adds 9,300 to his stack, while Nick Cassavetes puts another 75 dimes on his tab. The Hollywood director not getting the kind of respect he's used to. Will the kids stay in the picture? Find out when we come back on the Big Game.
You know, I'm a little disappointed you haven't made a comment about the fact that there's free food around, and here I am.
And you're stealing it.
Everybody knows that. I used to be in weird places, political stuff, but stuff that you know Joe would never go to.
You'd be there.
I've been in 5 places that Joe would never show up to if they didn't have free food.
Are those shrimp? Is that cocktail shrimp? What is this place? It's just free for everyone?
He was the wedding crasher before they had wedding crashers.
I was also the hangover before it was the hangover.
Yeah, except the whole movie was him waiting outside Applebee's for it to open so he could get his debit card back, and then it got declined. The end.
Hey, Scott, why don't you call the action?
That's my job. Ace 4 for Vanessa Selbst. Folds. Antonio Esfandiari with 9-7. Raises to 1,100.
That's somewhat mandatory, and mine's mandatory.
5-7 for Prahlad.
How many times can a man get through me?
Folds.
That's the Johnny Lawden question. How many times will I let you raise from the cutoff?
Jared Huggins folds. Cassavetes out.
If you raise from the cutoff 1,000 times, how many times would I call or re-raise?
In this game?
Yeah.
All right, we can do it.
You may have noticed that Antonio's a leaner, meaner, more mature magician. Rumor has it he's traded in his playboy lifestyle for a renewed focus on poker.
This is true. I have stopped going out as much. I would have to say that I enjoyed my 20s more than any man should. And at some point, you know, everybody has to throw in their card. I don't want to be the 40-year-old guy at a club. I feel really good. I'm eating super healthy, organic foods. I've cut a lot of meat out of my diet. I still enjoy a nice ribeye from time to time. I don't go out and drink as often. You know, I'm a little more, I'm 32 now. I have to find a wife and have some babies. I have a trainer, and we train about 4 to 5 times a week.
Push, kid, push right here. Come on. Stay in it. Come on. Nice. One more. One more. It's all you.
It's amazing. I'm at 32, and by far the best shape I've ever been in my whole life. You know, he does my diet, and he trains me, and he's just, I would not be where I am mentally focused at a poker table if it wasn't for him.
What was with all those shots of Antonio with his shirt off? I walked out of the room for a second, come back in. I think I'm in VO for the wrong late night programming.
Antonio Esfandiari for the shake weight. Action will start on the magician with King Jack offsuit. Raises to 1,100. Prahlad Friedman. King 4.
Right.
Dumps it. 8-6 for Huggins. Says no thanks. Cassavetes Ace 9 suited.
Suited ace on the button, pretty much an auto call.
And he calls. Greenstein folds, and Selbst is out.
Me and the doctor?
Oh, now the speeches again?
Me and the doctor, huh?
Speechers.
It's this side against that side because we're all stuck. They're all winning. They're all chirpy. And
Right, I noticed that.
Giving speeches.
Chirping chips, they call them.
Flop, deuce, queen, jack. Antonio with middle pair.
And the best hand.
I want to see what you guys do when you get stuck. Yeah, when you guys get stuck, I wonder if it's going to be so chirpy.
Yeah, I want to see that too, actually.
Antonio fires out and wins some chirping chips.
These two are winning. I'm very close to even.
That's the way it is. The haves and the have-nots.
Well, Joe, Barry's right. The table is definitely tipping to the right, and the pot's won percentage proves it.
Through the first 40 hands, the right side of the table has taken down over twice as many pots for a total of 69%, led by Esfandiari's whopping 32%. The left side is anchored in losses by the 5% of the loose cannon, who has won just 2 of the 40 hands we've played so far. Ayah! To be fair, I think he's only played 2 of the hands so far.
Double ayah. Action on Huggins. Lets it go. Nick Cassavetes, queen jack offsuit.
Should be an easy raise.
Raise it.
They have statistics on this game, right?
They do.
Last time I played on it, I didn't pick up a pair
Really?
for like 40-some hands. We played more than 40-some hands so far, right?
It's only 1 out of 17, right?
I know, but still haven't picked up a pair.
We're on hand 42, and no, Barry has not had a pair. Can we please roll out the tiny violin graphic I asked for? No? Okay.
So Prahlad folds, and Esfandiari's called the raise from Cassavetes, and they'll be heads up to the flop. 10-4-7 rainbow total brickage.
Antonio misses, but he's got the best hand.
Checks it.
Has to check to the razor, though, which is why the lead would have been handy.
But Cassavetes checks. Turn 3 of hearts.
Antonio still good.
And still checking.
All right, go ahead.
As is Cassavetes. We'll see a river. Queen of clubs. Cassavetes hits top pair.
A bet here from Antonio would be a wild stab.
Not gonna do it.
2.
That's a bet of $2,000 from Nick Cassavetes.
Nick's betting for value. I don't think he'll find it.
I made it.
So Nick will win a small one.
Take another one, Nick. Beat the left side.
How much am I up now?
I don't know, a lot.
Played that hand pretty awful.
You did, huh?
Ace jack suited.
It's just so bad.
You could have bet at me. I would have folded for sure. I had the kind of hand that would definitely fall.
And Nick sticks Antonio with the needle.
Welcome back to the big game. Here's where we stand after 42 hands. Vanessa Selbst brings her tournament success to the cash game and finds more success. She's up over $65,000.
And it's the Hollywood filmmaker Nick Cassavetes bringing up the rear. He's down nearly $70,000. Our loose cannon is timidly stuck a fifth of his stack. He's been getting pushed around worse than a bulimic sumo wrestler.
The action continues with hand 43 of the 150 that we'll play this week. Nick Cassavetes, ace-6 suited. Raises to 1100. Greenstein quickly folds. Queen-3 suited for Vanessa. Lets it go. Antonio with jack-8.
Antonio wants to play with an amateur one way or another.
And he calls. Prahlad Friedman, ace-4.
Ah, so close.
So close. And folds. Huggins folds his big blind. And we'll see a heads-up flop once again. Esfandiari and Cassavetes for ace-9, 2 diamonds. Cassavetes flops top pair.
He's supposed to bet,
but checks.
If he thinks he's in a situation where he's either way ahead or way behind, he'd rather keep the pot small.
Esfandiari bets out 2,100.
And he lets Antonio bet its bluffs like he just did.
And Cassavetes makes the call.
So far, I'm okay with the director's creative choices.
To the turn. Deuce of hearts.
Antonio's now drawing dead.
And Cassavetes checks it to him again. Antonio checks.
Doesn't bite this time.
9 of spades on the river. Cassavetes one more time checks it to Antonio.
Looks like he's content to just check call. Antonio can only win this with a bluff, and it looks like he may be considering trying to rep a 9.
Reaching for chips. Bets 10,200.
Antonio's overbet the pot, and while Nick might hate it, ideally this is why he kept the pot small so he could call this bet. And this is where metagaming comes in, though. Antonio knows Nick's stuck and has made a lot of bad calls.
Very cool.
Nick's probably triple and quadruple guessing himself here. By betting so much, Antonio's tricking Nick into talking himself out of making this call. Let's see if it works.
And Nick folds.
You're a very evil man, sir. You're an evil man.
So Antonio's going to drag a pot worth almost 18,000 with a nice big river bet bluff.
But Antonio still is pretty evil.
Antonio. It's a big hand, huh?
Well, it wasn't a big hand, but it was the winning hand, and that's what the Magician's been doing for the first time ever on the big game.
That's right. His first time out, he was in for 150K and went broke on hand 104. His second start wasn't much better, lasted all 150 hands, but finished down over 130K. But so far this week, Antonio's graph is on the uptick. Through 43 hands, he's up $26,200. And is it just me, or does that graph remind anyone else of Tron?
Wow, your watch is really shiny.
I was only making that comment about your watch earlier because I was wearing the same.
Yeah, I figured that out after.
Similar kind of watch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just rip your watch like that.
That's what I was like, man, this guy's, and I looked at her and I was like, oh, here's a.
Antonio, didn't you win something for that? Did I get that watch? No? You actually paid real money for that?
Burn.
I wouldn't go that far, but.
Esfandiari raises.
Why are they always picking on me, Cass?
That watch stands the test of time.
Jack deuce for Friedman.
You never like put it in a pot or anything?
A little bling never hurt, right?
I love it.
Would be really good is if you're in a big pot and you give the speech and you say, "I'll lay you."
Huggins calls.
Put the watch in.
That's from an old poker, but one of the first.
I did that one time in a game.
Cassavetes folds.
The guy called me and I won.
Greenstein folds. Action on Vanessa. Out.
Jared can flop a set and cold deck Antonio. Maybe he can go home with one of those watches.
If you read that, you probably are a student of the game. You probably read the poker book where that's from, where the guy said, you wait till 2 in the morning when everyone's hungry, and you bring out a sandwich when you have the nuts, and you put it in the pot, and you say, whoever wins this gets the sandwich. Then you get everyone to call because they're all hungry.
Esfandiari bets out with a gut shot.
And he said the best part of it is, when you win the pot, you get to use the sandwich again later.
Jared be laughing, but he's heard way too many sandwich jokes in his life.
That's in the home game days, not the online PokerStars.net days, where you can just go to the refrigerator.
That story came from the classic poker tome, Caro's Book of Sandwich Tells.
And Huggins folds.
Antonio won that one by betting his gut shot, but I gotta be honest, I don't think the cards even really matter anymore. Jared's just folding to every bet on the flop.
Sometimes you just want to get up in there and shake the cannon.
Funny as that is, I do not condone shaking the cannon in any way. It is very dangerous.
Are you still doing the push-ups and the working out?
Yeah. I've kind of fallen off for the last couple weeks, but yeah.
How many push-ups was the most you could ever do? No, I'm at like maybe 45 push-ups right now.
45?
Yeah.
That's still pretty good.
It's not bad, right? But
push-up prop bet, ship it.
10-8 suited for Greenstein. Pumps it up. 8-4 for Selbst. Folds.
I don't even know if I could do 45. I could probably hammer out 40. Could probably do 45 if I feel good.
Quiet, kid, I got a hand.
King Jack for Antonio. Re-raises to 4,300. Prahlad pushes up. Ace-7 suited.
Prahlad facing a raise and a re-raise out of position.
And he lets it go. Greenstein makes the call.
At least 2 of Barry's club outs have just been folded.
To the flop. 9 Ace-King rainbow. Esfandiari with a pair.
And it's the best hand.
Barry total brickage. Esfandiari checks. And Barry checks.
I know what you're thinking. Barry didn't c-bet, but no, it doesn't count. He wasn't the last aggressor.
And 4 of hearts on the turn.
I'm disappointed too. Neither player improves, but that 4 is about as inconsequential as it gets.
And they're going to check it to the river. 5 of spades.
Antonio can try to get some value now.
Looks like he will. Bet 7,200. And Greenstein quickly folds.
And we're going to have to get some more supports on that side of the table to hold up all those chips.
Antonio scoops another one.
Wow.
They say you can't win them all, but Antonio disagrees. It's a night of magic here on the big game. See if it continues or if it's just an illusion when we get back.
I think whoever came up with this whole idea of the big game and the loose cannon is a genius. I wish every tournament, every game was pot limit pre-flop and no limit post-flop. It's just a great show.
I think it's awesome to have loose cannon, and you just get to see these people, you know, fight for what is worth a ton to them.
For someone who's worked hard to get here, who's played in the satellites, and to have a chance, you know, to play with pros and to get 100K and possibly make life-changing money is incredible. There's just nothing like it.
Well, so far for this week's loose cannon, Jared Huggins, things haven't been going to plan. Through 49 hands, he's down 23,000 bucks.
How you doing over there, Jared?
Good, how about you?
Warming up?
Yeah, I think
Getting
so.
ready to shove it in there? Look like you're getting a little anxious.
Eventually.
Eventually, right?
He seems a little
At least
jumpy
you
right
understand
now.
that one. Last time the loose cannon with like 20 hands to go just didn't play a hot pot.
You got 6 hands to go, you know that, right?
Were they down?
Yeah, he was down to like 60K.
And he
was
didn't play any
just
hands?
kept folding. I was like,
What are you doing?
Tony G was actually getting like upset at him.
Yeah, he should have said something.
We did.
Yeah, what did he do? And he didn't.
He ended up doubling up through Phil Hellmuth, actually.
You're going to have to be more specific. Phil Hellmuth doubled up 3 of our first 8 loose cannons.
So Prahlad raised his button and the action's on the cannon.
We know Jared's pretty tight, but he is also out of position.
And he folds. Cassavetes, ace-jack offsuit.
The button.
It's worth it just for the speeches. Just for the speech.
Which speech? This one or the one's coming?
The one's coming.
That one was decent too. The speech about the speech. It's the pre-speech speech.
So Cassavetes calls to the flop. King 6-8, top pair for Friedman.
I check.
Cassavetes checks.
So do I.
As does Friedman.
A little tricky.
Deuce of spades on the turn.
Doesn't change much. Puts a second flush draw out there.
Cassavetes still checks.
Prahlad may want to bet now that there's 2 flush draws out there. Also, seems like a good a time as any to start getting some value.
Checks are for the bank. He makes it 2,500. One of my favorite poker jokes.
Hilarious.
And Cassavetes folds.
Easy money.
Did you ever pair any of those cards that come up?
Checks are for the bank, and Prahlad's laughing all the way to the bank.
Let's put it this way. If I did, I'd probably bet 750,000.
You can't bet that much.
And he probably wouldn't anyway. So far, Cassavetes has been one of the most passive players at the table after the flop.
1/3 of the way in, he's right near the top in VPIP and PFR, but that's where the action stops. The director has been shutting it down after the flop with an aggression factor below 1. Nick's not making many hands, but that's why they made it legal to bluff. Hard to blame him, though. He got burned on a couple hands early on. He's been a little gun-shy ever since.
The action will start here on Vanessa Selbst.
1 point.
Isn't that old white guy? Bill Shaw?
4 tray offsuit, folds. Antonio, tray deuce, lets it go. 6-8 for Prahlad, folds. The loose cannon with 8-5.
On the button.
Look at this, a raise to 1,200 from Huggins. Ace-king for Cassavetes.
No raise.
Uh-oh, is he going to make it 750,000? Take your time, director, man.
Re-raises to 4,000.
This is the right move while out of position, especially facing the amateur.
And Barry with ace-king as well.
The other amateur, I mean.
You could just guess my weight.
We could easily see a 4th bet here.
You could just guess my weight.
Uh-oh, check out Jared, though. I think he already knows what he needs to do.
Big time steamroll. And Barry has 4-bet to 13,000. Now Huggins folds.
Don't you ever steamroll me, ever. I'm a poker legend. Whoa, whoa, it's cool, dude. It's not a big deal. You don't have to leave.
Come have a seat. How you doing?
I'm ready for a little break.
Are you?
Yeah.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I think I'm kind of figuring out how they play a little bit.
Really?
But overall, it's still early, and I got a lot of chips, so I'm looking to get in pretty soon.
Oh, really?
Well, not.
Like now?
Not this hand, but I'm looking for spots to play, big pots. So.
Well, there's a big pot brewing back at the table as Nick Cassavetes faces a 4-bet from Barry.
And both these guys are stuck a bit, so that may force the action.
All right, I'm all in.
Not quite all in. It's pot limit, dude.
Every bit of it.
40,800 is the max.
Okay, I'll go with you.
Barry moves all in.
All ins.
Want to do any business? I want to, just not twice. I have the same hand.
Yeah, exactly. We each have a card over a card.
Very slim chance one of these guys scoops the pot.
I hope you get it in and double up. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thanks. I think I'm headed back over there. I don't want to miss a hand.
No, yeah, go. See ya.
Well, poker wins that round of poker versus girls.
I can't even remember which one was mine.
Well, yeah, I'm just running so bad. I don't want to get in it. Oh, that happens.
Flop, 6, deuce, ace.
All you have to do is talk to me, baby.
And now it's a guaranteed chop.
I win.
You both win. Yay!
You just needed a little bigger stack, Barry. I'll lay that hand down in 2 seconds.
Whee!
Well, I'm just glad you didn't have ace queen.
He wouldn't have chopped it then.
You wouldn't have chopped it?
Of course I would have. Do you think I care? one card difference, you know, it's like it's real close, right?
That's why he's the Robin Hood of poker.
A little short stack on short stack violence, but ends up in a chop.
I wouldn't hold one card different against my buddy Nick.
And don't forget, all season long, you can check out exclusive behind-the-scenes footage, bonus hands and stats, and clips our censors have deemed too hot for TV on the website. Action will continue with hand number 52. Antonio, 10-6 offsuit, folds.
Thank you.
Queen 10 for Prahlad. Raises.
Oh, I'm going to start knitting it up. Just lock up my win.
Don't worry, Jared. He doesn't mean it. He'll still play with you. Trust me.
9-7 for the cannon. Folds.
What hand am I hoping for him to have?
Cassavetes.
Queens.
Queen Jack.
Nick's got Prahlad dominated, and he's in position.
And he calls. Well, it took 52 hands for Barry to get his first pair, and it's aces.
Probably worth the wait.
Re-raises to 5,100. Vanessa Selbst, Queen 10 off. Folds.
There go 2 of Prahlad's outs, and 1 of Nick's. Prahlad's in position, but with a caller already behind him, Prahlad could easily be dominated.
Come on.
And folds.
Save me.
As does Nick.
Save me money.
Small blind re-raise. It's a strong play.
Very strong.
So Barry gets aces, and no action. Isn't that the worst?
Not cool, Zeus. I'm sure Greenstein, who has the highest 3-bet percentage at the table at over 14%, would have hoped to induce a little more action when he 3-bet with pocket aces. His aggressive style has set him up to get paid with his premium hands, unlike the loose cannon Jared Huggins, who has yet to put in a 3-bet. So when Jared finally picks up a hand, he's liable to set off more alarms than a chili cook-off.
The action will start here with Vanessa Selbst. UTG with the hammer. Folds it. Ace-9 off for Esfandiari. Raises to 1,100. Prahlad, King-Jack offsuit.
Next time we play a game together, a game of poker, I'm going to be sitting right over there.
I hope not.
And it's going to be a completely different game.
Prahlad calls 1,100.
Uh-oh.
I'll just knit up.
It's been said.
I don't think you're capable. That's
I'm
not true.
capable.
I've seen you knit it up.
I can knit it up.
I've seen you knit it up for sure.
You've watched him play, right?
I can
Yeah, I've seen him knit it up. It's fair.
Huggins calls with Jack-9. Cassavetes, 8-6. Folds.
Over here folding ace-jack under the gun because I know I'm just going to get popped and I won't know what to do.
Yeah, right.
Somehow I don't believe you.
Greenstein's made the call, and it's 4-way action to the flop. 9, Queen 5, Rainbow. Huggins and Esfandiari pair their 9s.
Barry checks his over in a gut shot. Antonio has what is now and what will often be the best hand in this spot.
Bets 4,100.
With a magician's flourish. Prahlad's also got an over and a gut shot. He and Barry are each blocking each other's pair and gut shot outs.
He lays it down. Back on the loose cannon.
Jared's been playing tighter than a pair of hipster jeans, and it might come in handy here. Uh-oh, maybe he's finally loosening up. Wait a second. Sick read.
Jared, we all wanted to see it.
Well, we're rooting for you, sir.
God, I wanted that race.
I didn't want to see it. What do you mean we all wanted to see it? Speak for yourself.
5 of 6 ain't bad.
We're all rooting for you, Antonio.
5 people here and like 20 million at home.
No matter what you
wanted
had,
to see it.
No, I didn't. I didn't want to see it.
Set of 9s are right too.
Yeah, even 9s he'd trade. I guess he'd.
Amanda, what do you want to see? Did you want to see Jared pop Antonio there?
Yes.
See?
Amanda just wants violence.
I think everybody did.
He grabbed a,
not good
had
when no one's
12K in
doing
his hand there.
Yeah.
He's ready.
Thought about it.
Antonio had a heart
We should
attack.
do a stat where it gets taped on the stat percentage of people that wanted to see Jared pop Antonio.
100% of this booth did.
Ace 10 for Antonio.
Is there a percentage higher than
That would
100?
fluctuate at all? Just remain constant.
Raises.
Even Antonio's parents are rooting for the loose cannon.
Friedman out. Over the loose cannon with suited connectors.
He's in late position, and suited connectors can be powerful.
And calls. Cassavetes, a suited ace.
Is that a call?
Yeah. It's definitely not a raise.
No, I just didn't know if he put it out or he just put it to the side of him.
Can't you see the line?
You serious?
Nick calls.
You can't see it.
And Greenstein folds.
It's green.
It's green, so it blends in a little.
Six
but-
deuce for Selbst.
God, this is such a good hand to squeeze with.
Ha!
What do you think, speech?
Speech re-raise would be beautiful.
I do that. I'm capable.
Give it the half fold and then grab it back and be like, I gotta re-raise.
Not gonna lie, that would be pretty boss.
3 to the flop, 3-4-9 rainbow. Huggins with a pair. Cassavetes needs his gut shot.
Jared's flopped the best hand. Antonio has a hand that's likely to be good.
And he bets out 3,200. Huggins folds.
Oh, that is so bad. You can't call with hands like that and just fold when you hit a pair. I'm sorry, you're giving money away.
Cassavetes calls.
Gotta make him work for it at least.
Turn. Tray of diamonds. Cassavetes picks up a flush draw as well.
I had a feeling a turn was coming. This hand.
The vegan guy had a feeling. Story checks out. Let's see if Antonio slows down after the smooth call on the flop.
Antonio checks.
All right.
And Cassavetes checks.
Semi-bluff may have taken it down right there.
The river. Deuce of hearts. Cassavetes misses his flush but makes a pair of deuces. Antonio checks.
Two pair.
Cassavetes is going to win this.
What? No value bet? Check in.
Late arriving.
Couple of deuces good for almost an $11,000 pot for Cassavetes.
Calling the turn.
Turn, you get raised.
So Lady Luck finally shows her face at Casa Cassavetes. See if she decides to stick around when we get back on the big game. Welcome back to the PokerStars.com big game. Scott Huff and Joe Stapleton bringing you the action as the players catch up about last hand.
I mean, I put him on 5-6, so a deuce was not the best card for me.
Always put me on 5-6, sir. It's a good place to put me.
Prahlad Friedman, King 8. Lets it go. Jared Huggins, our loose cannon with 9 tray. He folds. Cassavetes. 5-6.
Hashtag this hand ironic.
Uh-oh, he raises to 1,100. Suckered into that one. Greenstein and Selbst, both folding. Jack 10 for Esfandiari. In the big blind.
Pretty easy hand to defend with.
And does.
Right back.
These guys have gone at it a few times now.
They'll be heads up again to the flop. 10, Jack 7, 2 clubs. Top 2 for Antonio.
Hope they remember to give Prahlad the vegan orange juice.
Esfandiari bets 2,300.
Antonio's donk bet into the pre-flop raiser.
Always put me on 6-5.
Always put me on 6-5.
6-5.
Would have been so much more awesome if he had won with it.
Antonio will take the pot.
Imagine my surprise. God, I would have loved to bust him with a hand.
That was funny,
That
right?
would've been a
You
nice
had just
hand,
said that right before you got that in. Wow.
Isn't that great when that's your poker logic? You say something, and that's how you're going to play.
You see it and you're like, now I have to play it. Because
Did you ever think of like announcing a better hand?
Yeah, wait. Just always put me on 2 aces, yeah.
All right, if it works this time, it's going to be super freaky. I'm going to start looking for his Warlock tattoo.
Huggins folds ace-6. Cassavetes is out, so is Greenstein. Over to Selbst with 7-4.
On the button.
Oh my goodness.
Not interested.
Let it be me this time. Let it be me.
You all right, Vanessa?
Let it be me.
I'm sick.
Just look at one. If it's bad, throw
Took
it away.
crazy pills this morning.
I have a prescription for crazy pills. Fold my button all the time.
Clearly not placebos. 8-4 for Esfandiari. Feeling a little nutty. He raises it to 1,300.
This is how you repay me.
6-9 for Prahlad.
I got a call.
What a surprise.
Just
What a surprise.
Antonio, walks are allowed at the big game. You didn't have to raise small to big.
Prahlad's made the call. Jack 6-5.
There's a 6-5.
Barry and Nick exchanging grunts over the flop. Antonio's flopped a gut shot.
And checks.
Friedman's got middle pair.
Also checks.
Neither one wants this pot getting too big yet.
Tray of diamonds on the turn.
Esfandiari picks up an open-ender draw.
And fires 2,400.
Semi-bluff. For Prahlad, this might look like exactly what it is. Someone picks up outs and semi-bluffs. There's a flush draw possible now as well.
And Prahlad will make the call. So we'll see a river.
Give it a call.
Tray of spades.
This really shouldn't change much.
So Antonio's missed.
Prahlad's got the best hand.
That's why they call him the Magician. He bets 5,200 with nada.
He's got a busted straight up his sleeve. Let's see if he makes his own money disappear. I'm assuming Prahlad kept the pot small so he could have this showdown. It's not a huge bet.
Can I rep the 3 here? Might be a raise opportunity here.
I would be very surprised if he raised.
Prahlad, you don't disappoint.
I could rep that 3, I think. I don't think he has the 3. I really don't. Might have checked the jack. I could easily have that 3. You weren't scared of that 3, huh?
I think Prahlad's speech may be leveling himself a bit. Not sure why calling isn't an option.
Why not have to raise that much?
He's got a decent amount of showdown value. A raise would get the job done, though.
Yeah, I don't feel like repping the 3.
Don't rep the 3, just call it the 6.
And he folds.
Worst button fold of history.
Really? Oh boy.
7-4 off.
I was afraid you folded jacks.
Now that would have been a bad fold.
How do I fold that?
Oh, you just saved 100,000.
Yes.
So the Magician pulls off another trick and takes down the last hand of the night. He jumps over Prahlad Friedman for second place on the leaderboard.
Filmmaker Nick Cassavetes will be looking to rewrite his big game script. He's down almost 70K, and the loose cannon Jared Huggins fails to make any progress. He ends the night down 28,400 and has a lot of work left to do.
Jared, didn't get much going tonight.
You know I didn't, but I think tomorrow's gonna be my day for sure.
Are we gonna see you gamble?
Yeah.
Yeah, you ready?
Oh yeah.
All right, Antonio, did you know that you've never won at the big game?
You know I did, and thank you for bringing that back up.
That's weird. That's really
Bringing
weird.
that back up.
That's strange.
You have a shot tonight. Look at the stack.
I do have a shot. I have a good seat, you know.
All right, guys, that's the end of the night. I'm Amanda Leatherman saying goodbye for now. And remember, if you've got the cash and the guts, there's always a seat open at the big game. Good night, everybody.
For Stapes, this is Huff saying, ship it!
Can you show me a magic trick?
How much did you lose on the other shows?
I think 200 and 200.
200, 200?
Fun.
Yeah, I gave Barry all my money. I gave him like 100 and something K with
10-4.
10-4.
Oh man.
They told me, don't ever 3-bet Derry. He never folds. I 3-bet him with 10-4.
I fold all the time.
And then I flop a straight draw. What do you want me to do?
The preceding program was sponsored by PokerStars.com.